Shalom b'cha, Chosh Omadid, and welcome to yet another live reading of the Book of Kings with yours truly, Plumas. Welcome to this corner of Las Plumas. My name is Plumas, and today, in yet another episode of Why I Do These Things to Myself, the Book of Kings. How is everyone? How is everyone doing? And house cleaning. What? Why is that, loco? Are we having something on the chat that shouldn't be there? How is everyone doing? I hope you are having a wonderful week so far. And can I bother you with something before starting? Because 2 sessions ago, or 1 session ago, I don't quite remember, I changed some of the microphone stats, and I would love to check whether you can hear me properly or not. If there's a lot of static, if there's a lot of echo, please, if you could take 2 minutes to tell me, that will be grand, because I don't know why, but the stats of my microphone keep changing. I don't touch them. Like, I've never touched Lulu June since I configured it like a year ago. I don't know how long it's been since Lulu June joined the streams, but I would appreciate if you could tell me that everything's working properly, because so far, and still Streamlit, the sounds good. Thank you, Umberto. Also, it's very lovely to see you too. Hello, Uloko. Hello, Serapis. Hello, Captain. Oh, Captain. Captain. Is any one of you wearing headphones? Because that is the key. That is the true deal. That is what the meat and potatoes of this situation is at. If you're wearing headphones, that is like the most perfect feedback you could give to me. Let's ignore that I almost broke my camera while starting to set up this stream. And let's ignore that Streamlabs keeps on cutting my music from scene to scene. For whatever reason, I'm working into that. Thank you, Captain. Aye. And, well, how are you? How's everyone doing? I am trying to delay this as much as possible because we are getting somewhere with the Ark of Shāh-nāmeh, and we are getting, we're getting somewhere. I'm going to stop the music. And I'm going to turn on Ancient Winds because that is our reading aloud music. And again, it's possible that you see me laughing. It's a nervous one. It's not that I'm laughing because I'm happy. Something I tend to do in order to, blow off steam, if that makes any sense. Because the situation was particular with our Prince Shāh-nāmeh. If it happens that this is the first time you come to these readings, first of all, salam, my name is Plumas, and I am an enthusiast and profound professional lover of the Book of Kings. And I've made liking and enjoying the Book of Kings an Olympic sport in this channel, and this is a beautiful poem written in the 11th century by the Iranian author Abul Qasim Ferdowsi, and I'm reading it out loud to you. It is impossible for me at this point to summarize how much we've covered, because allow me to tell you, this is 60,000 verses long, roughly, and it's been a while. As you can see, it's part 35. I mean, it was 35, and but you can check the order streams on iVoox, Spotify podcasts, YouTube, or the same Twitch channel. Today we are going to continue learning about the adventures and misventures, as we say in Spanish. I think the proper word to use in English is misfortunes, but potato. And we're going to continue learning about the story, the narrative arc of Prince Shāh-nāmeh, who, if you don't remember who he is the heir to the throne. He was, excuse me, he was the heir to the throne of Iran because he is the son of Kaikavuz. However, due to circumstances, he had to flee his kingdom of origin and take refuge, seek sanctuary in not none other than Turan itself. And Turan is the enemy, sworn enemy of Iran. It's a foreign kingdom. And this is where Shāh-nāmeh, kind of sheltered by Afrasiab, who is the current king of Turan, is living nowadays. Recently, he married his daughter and he built a beautiful city somewhere. The poem doesn't specify, of course, because when does the poem specify regarding the following? Geography, nurturing and raising up a kid, age, certified by fire trial. Oh, loco has so much on point. Thank you so much, Mr. Ross, for your subscription. 40 months. That is 4 and 0. 40 months supporting this channel. You are a star. You are the jewel, the most brilliant jewel of the Strata chess. Thank you so much for your support. I couldn't do this without you. I know I say that about all my patrons, and it is true. I couldn't do this with the support of my patrons and subscribers, but particularly, I could not do any of this without Nosotros. He is my biggest support, so thank you so much personally for what you do for me. And let's start, because I was commenting that Shāh-nāmeh, this Iranian prince living in Turan, had built up a wonderful city. Alas, he had a vision, a dream, an omen of some sorts that revealed to him. It's not that he's not been revealed. This is much more like a gut feeling. If you like, hello, how are you? Just listen to the background. Lovely to have you here. I am so happy to for you to come to these streams. And I was seeing that Shāh-nāmeh had this feeling, this omen of his own, that something terrible was upon him. Something awful and undescribably terrible was just lurking in the dark, kind of preying on him, but he could not point, he could just put his finger around it. He could not say exactly what it was. Yet his close friend in Turan, a commander of the king named Piran, he told him everything was going to be fine and he shan't worry. So Shāh-nāmeh, as instructed by the king, built a beautiful city, and it was a marvel to the eyes. It was something to contemplate. So much so that news arrived to the ears of to the ears of Afrasiab, who is the king of Turan, remember? I think I'm over-explaining this, and if you come from the latest reading, you know exactly who am I talking about, but I'm just doing this in case some people are a wee lost, and also because I love pampering and treating my very shy audience, and I know sometimes you message me saying that you don't follow quite well the readings because there's a lot of people and there's a lot of characters, and I understand, and they don't have especially easy names to remember, like Shāh-nāmeh, Garzibos, Afrasiab, Kai Kavos. There's not any Thomas, Rick, or Stanley. No, this is difficult, and but don't worry, I'll do my best to make sure you enjoy the reading. The thing is, the king of Turan, who has not visited Shāh-nāmeh in his city, receives multiple news from multiple sources that the place this prince has built is something else. It's just a wonder, like a paradise manifested on earth. So he sends a person of his full trust, who is Garzibos. Garzibos is what is that, Uloko? What we need is a manga version of the Shāh-nāmeh. Wouldn't that be amazing? I would love that. I would love for the Shāh-nāmeh to have a kind of animated thing, a manga, a comic. I would love that. If you know any artists out there, please make them talk to me. I have ideas, and yet again, Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO, and all the others, I have ideas. Call me. Thank you. So, Garzibos is an elder, is a paradox keyboard optimization. Yes, of course, I can be contacted by Paradox as well. I'm not going to say no to them. Garzibos is a general, is a high commander of the the kingdom of Turan. Oh, Slothinator. Umberto here's teasing me. I happen to know another artist too, but I think the artist is very busy, and I don't know if they would be up for it, because Umberto, even if you and I ridiculously love the Book of Kings, I don't know if this person shares our blind passion for it, and I respect that. I understand. Coming back to the reading, Garzi this high commander, is instructed to visit Sayavaj, and I quote, "If your host welcomes you with smiles, stay in his pleasant city for 2 weeks." So, here he goes. Garzivas chose 1,000 Turanian knights and set off in high spirits for Sayavashgerd. Sayavashgerd literally means the place for Sayavaj, like the area of Sayavaj, and this is the name of the city. Because naming cities after yourself is something that Iskandar did not invent. Oh, really? There actually is, says Uloko, an anime fantasy version of Persia, including the Shāh-nāmeh. What is the name of that anime? Is it good though? Because I know Ahadine Dastan, the last fiction, that is a film by Horaj Studios, but that covers only the myth of Fereidun and Zahok. Incredible, by the way. I still am working on bringing this to the channel and watch it with you. But I've known that. Yeah, it's a heroic legend of Arslan. I don't quite like it, but I can make an effort. I will give it a thought. So, back to the reading. Garthivas chose 1,000 Turanian knights and set off in high spirits for Sayavashgerd. Hearing of his approach, Sayavash and a detachment of troops hurried out to meet him. The two embraced, and Sayavash inquired after the king's health. He welcomed Garzivas to the palace and had his escort billeted appropriately. I've explained this before, but the welcome party is something very important in the Iranian protocol, and not only the Iranian, I would say in the whole Iranian plateau, Central Asia, Middle East. Welcoming someone as they come from a really long travel to visit you, or at least to meet specifically with you where you are, it's something of the utmost importance. Again, protocol. So what they would do is that you will calculate somehow, or you will have scouts inform you of when the person's going to arrive, and you will pick your own personal guard or a detachment of people. Normally you don't go by yourself, because of course I'm talking about high circles of society. I'm not just saying everyone did this. No, we're talking about princes, officers in the military, noble kin, and so what would you do is gather a handful of your most trusted men, sometimes like a proper escort, and would ride out the city or the place of meeting. Then kind of like a day, like when you are like a day apart from the destination, you will meet with your visitor and you will welcome them there and make the rest of the journey in company. I want to emphasize this because it's going to be relevant for the future, and this is something everyone does, and this is something you should not skip under any circumstance. Allow me to stress that when you always do this. You always do this, and again, you know that asking something, also part of the protocol, is asking about the journey and asking about how the king, in case the representative is a minister of the king, how the king is doing. All good, you arrived and you to your destination, and you feel as the visitor respected. It's the form of paying homage to your visitor and to pay your respects. Then on the next day, Garzibas brought Sayavash the king's letter, because he wrote something, together with a robe of state. When Seavash saw the robe the king had bestowed on him, his spirits opened like a flower in springtime. Why is this? Because, I don't know if you remember this from the last reading, if not, that is perfectly fine. What Afrasiab was giving Seavash with this robe and this letter was the right to rule upon a tiny bit of land, which is Seavash Gad and the surroundings. Therefore, he was given Seavash certain political power and certain independence for himself and for him to rule and to manage his kingdom at his will. Important fact again. And thinking that Seavash was a little bit melancholic about this omen he had foreseen, this relaxes him a bit, just a wee bit, but enough to enjoy of the visit of Garzibaz and tend to his guest as should be done. So he and his nobles took Garzibaz about the city, and when they had surveyed it, building by building, they returned to the palace. There, they saw Farigiz. Farigiz is the daughter of Afrasiab who married Seavash, so she is a princess, and she's lovely. We like Farigiz quite a lot. You will discover why, but we like her. Also, if you are not used to these streams, allow me to make a disclaimer, digression for myself. I am not objective whatsoever. There's zero intention of me of not being biased, because this is my Twitch channel, my live readings, and I have very, very strong opinions about the characters in the Shāh-nāmeh. I do not tremble before pointing out which ones I profoundly dislike and which ones I absolutely adore. And I like Farigiz. Farigiz is definitely in the latter section. Also, cheers. Are you drinking something while listening to the reading? I am having a citrusy tea, but I made this in a rush because I was a wee late, so I don't know what it is. It smells like lemon. Definitely smells like lemon and lemongrass. Salam Ahmad, I'm really sorry, but I don't think my Persian is that good. I know you were telling me to go somewhere, but that is why I have my trusty dictionary over here. Allow me to see if I can read your message. Oh, I'm really sorry that your head hurts. Oh, I hope you feel better soon. Yeah, there they saw Farigiz in the second visit to the palace. They saw Farigiz wearing a diadem, studded with turquoise, seated on her ivory throne, and surrounded by maidservants. She descended and welcomed Garzibaz, asking after the king and her hometown. Garzibaz seethed with resentment, but his outward behavior was punctilious and respectful. In his heart, he said, "Let another year pass, and Seavash will have no time for anyone. He has sovereignty here, a crown and power, wealth, land, and an army. But, though inwardly he writhed in anguish and his face turned pale, he hid what was in his heart, saying to Seavash, 'Your efforts have been rewarded. May you live for many years enjoying your good fortune.'" Yeah, that's not nice. I mean, if you don't like someone, you should not pretend. I mean, it's not that... If you're harboring this kind of awful feeling, you should not hide it. Let's not learn things from Garzibaz. No, there's a lesson to be learned here. It's not... Don't be like Garzibaz. Do not imitate him, please. So why is this? Why is it that Garzibaz is harboring this resentment towards Seavash if the prince, at least on the surface, has done nothing to him? Well, because did you remember that there was a part of the Turanian noble people that was not really okay with Seavash overstaying his welcome and permanently residing in Turan? Why is that? Because he, after all, is the heir of Kai Kavuz, and Seavash is very special. In any capacity. Not only he has been blessed by the royal far, but also he is beloved and awakens the sentiment of love and adoration in every single person that crosses his way. So, all of this that would be very positive and not terrible in other circumstances is a tad worrying for this handful of noblemen from Turan that are not okay with him staying. Why is this? Because they are fearing all this influence and power that Siavash naturally has can backfire at some point, meaning that if Siavash was to raise an army and start a coup d'etat against Turan, he would have zero oppositors and he could seize the throne like this. Quick, swift, and painless. And some Turanians are not that all right with that, if you know what I mean. Yet, he doesn't say anything. He's just observing. He's learning by what he sees to tell them everything, to report everything back to the king. And, he still wishes him, I wish you live forever, blah, blah, blah. And then 2 golden thrones were placed in the palace, and there Garzivos and Siavash sat, while musicians played heart bewitching music on harps and lutes. So yes, it's a celebration. At sunrise on the next day, Siavash and Garzivos went out to an open space to play chogan. Do you know what chogan is? I believe the translation, or at least the English word to refer to this sport, is polo. Do you know that this sport that you play on horses with mullets and bowls? Yet I prefer calling it by its original name, which is chogan. Chogan was incredibly popular in Iran, at least that we know, from the 9th century onwards. And then it became especially popular on Ottoman Turkey. The Ottoman sultans loved playing chogan. And it was a very common princely entertainment. All princes knew how to properly play chogan, because if you think of it, chogan has many parallelisms. Salam Maha! Cheers! Oh, Shaheen, is this you? Salam! Khosh Amadim! Yeah, chogan is very fun. But if you think of it, chogan has a lot of parallelisms with the act of horse riding into battle, because you need to be able to maintain your balance. Also, you need to be a very skilled rider. You need to be paying attention to not just you, but the other riders surrounding you. So this sport is a more or less a representation of what a battlefield, at least a combat between 2 factions of cavalry, would look like. And that is one of many reasons why chogan was so popular. Chogan was popular because it was fun too. I mean, remember, Bacha, that people in the past were still people. They had fun, they laughed, they cried, they had emotions and dreams. They're not just people sitting statically in the past centuries for us to study. No. They also enjoyed things. And when something is popular, it's because it's fun. Normally, and I'm going to close the door there. We're not discussing that. We're not going there. No, we're staying there. We're focused. They are going to play chogan. Siavash and Garzivos are going to play chogan. Oh, of course. And as Nosiros reminds me, people loved staying alive. Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Vizier. So, Garzivos and Siavash start playing polo. Garzivos threw down the ball and Siavash struck it so hard that it disappeared as though the heavens had swallowed it, while his opponent's mallet struck only dust that spurted up from the plain. I mean, Siavash is a descendant of the Dragon King, of Fereydun. If you're not familiar with him, you should definitely, because he's the best character in the Shāh-nāmeh, Fereydun. At least he's one of my favorites. And he's very strong and abnormally, supernaturally built, in the sense that he's just a Superman. Not altogether Superman, but like Superman. man. He's supernatural creature, so he is incredibly strong, and he throws the ball up into a quinta puñeta, like up into the sky, and it disappears. He strokes the ball so hard that he never comes back. It's in orbit. Now it's orbitating around the moon or something. So that is a good moment for Gardiva's to decide to stop playing. Thrones were set at the edge of the field for the two heroes who watch as the men displayed their prowess with javelins. So they don't play polo anymore. We are moving into the exhibition part of the show. Gardiva suggested then that Şāh-nāmeh himself should show his martial valor before the Turanians, and he assented. Faiza Sohrab, in the book Shāh-nāmeh, Ardashir Baba Khan, first time we hear Chogan, which was during the Sassanid kingdom. Yes, we have evidence of people playing Chogan as a regular sport. I said 9th century. That was the earliest mention to Chogan I read about was in the 9th century. But apparently, as Sohrab says here, it's even before, like already the Sasanians, and I'm guessing that would be 6th century before Common Era. Apparently, the Sasanians already played Chogan, which is something incredible. Thank you for the historical day, the fact. Sorry, I am translating from Spanish and I didn't know the word. Thank you. That is very interesting. So this is something quite common as well for Iranian courts and for the Iranian tradition, which is displaying your abilities before your leaders. I know that might sound a tad weird, but it was something very common. So what would happen is that warriors, the best warriors inside of the army, would come before the king and perform a series of normally physical tasks, always connected to the military exercise. For example, horseback riding, horseback arrow shooting, aim with javelins, sometimes wrestle. There's multiple things that they do to prove before the kings, princes, and nobles that they are exceptional. This is something super normal. All courts do this. And what Gardiva has proposed here is that Şāh-nāmeh would do as such, to show the Turanians that have come with Gardivas how powerful and mighty the Iranian prince actually was. So Şāh-nāmeh, because, we've talked about this. We love Şāh-nāmeh. He is a pan de Dios, and pan de Dios means literally a bread from God, which is a Spanish expression, not a Peninsular Spanish expression. I believe it's a Mexican expression to describe someone that is just so pure and good and innocent for the world. But Şāh-nāmeh, being a pan de Dios, he is a clinically diagnosed people pleaser. Şāh-nāmeh cannot say no to anyone. So of bloody course, when Gardiva suggests, hey, you should do this too, join the army, show everyone how strong and incredible you are, of course, Şāh-nāmeh says yes. And this is my other lesson for today, Bacha, do not be people pleasers. It is okay sometimes to say no. Why do I say this? You're going to discover that in just a minute. So, the prince exchanged then his throne for the saddle. 5 suits of mail, each heavy enough to tire a man, were bound together and set up at the field's end, while all the army watched expectantly. Şāh-nāmeh owned a spear that had belonged to his father, who had used it in the war against Mazandaran. We're not going to talk about what happened in Mazandaran. No, with Kai Kavus. If you want to find out, you should listen to the past readings. But Kai Kavus is an idiot, okay? Clinically diagnosed idiot. This spear he grasped, and then, like a maddened elephant, he charged, plunging the spear into the suits of mail. shattering the fastenings and scattering them at will. There's a rain of metal pieces here. Garzivaz's men collected the broken remnants from the field. Then, because Seavash doesn't stop there, the prince had 4 Gilani shields. If you don't know what Gilani means, it's from Gilan, which is a region in Iran. 2 of the shields were made of wood and 2 of the shields were made of iron. And the prince had them bound together as a target. He called for his bow and thrust 6 poplar wood arrows in his belt. Remember this tree? I mean, not for the immediate future, but the poplar wood tree is very relevant for these mythological part of the Shāh-nāmeh. Very, very important. Again, I don't know if you are that kind of person that has powerful memory, but poplar wood. So, yeah. He thrust 6 poplar wood arrows in his belt. 3 more he kept in his fist, and 1 he notched to the bowstring. Let us just repeat again. He has 4 arrows thrusted in his belt, then 3 in his closed fist, and a 4th one. There's 8 arrows here, and a 4th one that he just notched to the bowstring. Then he galloped toward the target and loosed the first arrow. But Shah, bear in mind this person doesn't have stirrups, and he's only using his legs, specifically the knees, to guide the horse. Full speed gallop, he's going to shoot from the top of the horse to the target. And when he loosed the first arrow, it pierced all 4 shields, which are placed like one after the other. So, all 4 other shields are pierced. He's extraordinary, as did all 10 of his arrows, one after another, while young and old roared in fascination and approval. Because what Seavash just did is indeed extraordinary. He is extraordinary. Gardivaz said, "My prince." Be warned of Gardivaz. I don't know if I should have said that, but be warned of Gardivaz. "My prince, in all Iran and Turan, you have no equal. But let's you and I engage in a wrestling match, grasping each other's belts and straining to throw one another, here, in front of our troops." Yes, Ulogo, he pierced metal shields, because he's that strong. Imagine the strength of that arrow just piercing the metal. Mind-blowing. This boy is mind-blowing. In front of our troops. I'm the foremost warrior of the Turanians, and you won't see many horses to rival mine. There's no one else here who is fit to oppose you. If I can throw you from your saddle to the ground, you will have to accept that I am the better warrior and have the better mount. And if you succeed in throwing me, I will never show my face on a battlefield again. This is dangerous. Like, all the red flags are now pop onto the scenario. And why is that? Because Garzivaz is challenging Seavash to basically an honor fight. And this is very dangerous. Allow me to list for you all the reasons why Seavash should say no to this. First of all, Garzivaz is older than him. Older and occupies a higher military rank than him. He is a general and very, very close to King Afrasiab. So much testosterone, Uloko, you have no idea. That's first. He's older, and here, age is something to respect. Second of all, Seavash is by far more powerful than any other human being in this world, under the exception of Rostam, maybe. But he knows that he's going to destroy this person, absolutely, if he dares to wrestle him. Third, if Seavash is to fight Garzivaz, he should do this in his full capacity, meaning that he could not pretend to lose because everyone would know, and that would be an insult of terrible consequences because you're not giving everything to your rival, and that is insulting you. How dare you do something like that? So Garcivas, what he's trying to do is taunting the prince, tricking him into fall into the very dark pit of pride, this hubris that we know of Greek mythology. And in doing so, Garcivas is expecting Savage to make a mistake because he's trying to look for an opening and have Savage insult him or disrespect him in any capacity. However, Savage, watch out for this, being the clinically diagnosed people pleaser that he is, still he holds back and he replies, "Don't say such things. You are a great lord and a great warrior. Your horse is superior to mine, and I reverence your helmet," which is an idiom, an expression to say that I respect you very much. "Choose some other Turanian to face me," says Savage. Garcivas insisted. "It will only be a friendly contest for a moment with no malice or hard feelings involved." Yeah. My ass. No hard feelings, no malice. La puñeta. No. But Savage knows. Oh, he knows. And he still replied, "It would not be right. Where I fight is no place for you." He's trying to signal that they're not at the same level. Savage is trying very, very hard to highlight how important Garcivas is, and so he's so much a higher level than him. He's just a humble prince, and he's homeless, and he's been adopted by Turan, so we should not do these kind of hurtful things. Someone could be hurt if we actually engage in a combat like this, so please don't. And then Savage kind of mentions when two men oppose one another, they might smile, but their hearts are filled with fury. Meaning that, as Uloko was pointing, there is a lot of testosterone running here, and pride is pride. And these men, don't want to see the warrior pride hurt. Not even the slightest. And Savage continues, "You are the king's brother." He's the king's brother by marriage, because the bloodline of Afrasiab is shared with Agriras. Do you remember Agriras? Okay, so do you remember how I call Afrasiab the psychopath? Because he is. Because he splitted his own brother in two with a sword. Because Agriras, the brother, refused to do his willing. This is the kind of person we're talking about with Afrasiab here. So, what is that, Maha? Well, sorry, Shaheen. I didn't know about 90% of what you're telling. Basically, I knew some basics about the characters, and now I'm interested to read the Shāh-nāmeh. I'm wondering if someone ever published Shāh-nāmeh comics. They did. There's a Shāh-nāmeh for kids comic that is amazing. Also, there is a Tales of Rostam, it was published, I want to say 10 years ago, but it's still quite good. Also, there is Horash Studio, which is a Tehruni studio that did Harin Dastan, which is a magnificent film about the Ark of Fereydun. And there's there's Mahoud, of course, Mahi, Aziz Zaman. There's Mahoud on Instagram. Mahoud Purghadim illustrated the story of Zal and Rudabe and the birth of Zal and his story with Simorg. So yes, of course, if you want, I could put all the sources on Discord and you can have a look at them. Savage was highlighting how Garcivas is the king's brother, and your horse's hooves, Savage continues, tread down the moon. I would do whatever you order me to, but I can't consent to this. Choose some lion warrior from among your companions, set him on a fine fleet horse, and if you are still intent on having me fight, you will see his head in the dust. Because, Savage is also a wee bit proud and saying, yeah, if you want to throw any warrior at me, I'm going to basically destroy them. And Garzibaz then kind of enjoyed this part, and he laughed, and turning to the Turanians, he called out, "Which of you wants to humble the greatest warriors and so be renowned throughout the world?" And for a few moments, nobody says a word. You can see like the dusty, these dust leaves. I don't know the name in English, from the dust films, like I don't know how you call them, desert bushes. And then there's one warrior that takes a step. His name is Gorui. Do not forget Gorui. We'll be with him for quite a while. So Gorui spoke up. "If no one else will oppose him, I am his match." Savage frowned at this, but Garzibaz said, my lord, he, Gorui, has no equal in our army." Savage, who knows, because he knows of his own strength, said, "If I am not going to fight with you, combat with anyone else is contemptible." I mean, he knows he's been tricked here. But choose two Turanian warriors, and I will fight against both together. And then a Turanian called Damur, also don't forget this name, joined Gorui, and Seavash faced them while they circled him. Then he lunged forward and grabbed Gorui by the belt, dragging him from his saddle to the ground, and everything without having to use his lariat. With his bare hands, Seavash is capable of dismounting a full-grown man, and throwing his back into the dust. Oh god. Next, he wheeled toward Damur and seized him by the neck, lifting him lightly from his horse so that all the onlookers were astonished. As if he were carrying a mere ant rather than a warrior, he rode over to Garzibaz, dismounted, released Damur, and sat down, laughing, on his throne. Unfortunately, Seavash is still human, and he makes the terrible decision of laughing because he's amused. He thinks this is a friendly match, yet he just humiliated the two most powerful warriors in the whole Turanian army, and he's laughing about it. He just presents the body of Damur before Garzibaz, and literally Mike drops him, like boop, and then he dismounts and sits and laughs. He's enjoying himself so much. Ah, Sisam, you should not have done that. Why did you do it? Cheddar. So, Garzibaz was secretly enraged by what Cheddar, Garzibaz was secretly enraged by what he had seen, and his face flushed. The two returned to the palace and spent a week feasting according to the Iranian custom, drinking wine and listening to singers, flutes, and lutes. On the 8th day, Garzibaz and his entourage made preparations to leave. Seavash wrote a friendly letter to Afrasiab and loaded Garzibaz with presents. At first, the journey home was filled with praise of Seavash and all his princely ways, but Garzibaz suddenly stops and exclaims, interrupting everyone and making all the Turanian soldiers to grow quiet. "When this Iranian came, the only gift he brought to us was shame. Our king has welcomed him to our disgrace. Humiliation stares at us in the face. Great Gorui and brave Damur, two men whose like Turan won't quickly see again, were forced by this high-handed Iranian knight to look like fools who don't know how to fight. And this won't be the end of it. I fear the consequences of his presence here. Alright, first of all, Azizam, they were not forced. You were the one forced in the match. Okay? Like, it's just, Garcibas was the one pushing the match for happening. He was looking for this. So don't blame on Sea. Sea is a people pleaser, but he's not stupid, and he's a pan de Dios. Say with me, Wacha. Pan de Dios. Pan de Dios. And so, Garzivas talked until they reached Afrasiab's court, muddying the streams of goodwill toward Seavash. When they arrived, Afrasiab questioned him eagerly, and after he had read Seavash's letter, he laughed out loud in the best of spirits, because remember that Afrasiab has grown fond of Seavash, has a very soft spot for this Iranian prince who he loves dearly in the bottom of his heart. Testosterone doesn't care about stupid facts, says Uloko. You stand correct. And when I say that Afrasiab loves Seavash, I mean like a father. When I am to ship to people in this book that are not canonically shipped, I tell you, don't worry. So, malignant Garzivas saw the king's gladdened face, and as evening came, he left the court, his heart a mass of pain and hatred. To be completely fair, and to just spare Garzivas from some hate, Garzivas has a fair reason for believing that Seavash is a threat. All the things he thinks about Seavash, they're all true. He's the strongest, he's the most beautiful, he is the noblest, he is the fairest, he is the best creature in Turan and the most suitable to rule. And remember, he has the far, meaning that he has the right to rule. If Seavash wants a throne, he is to get one, because the royal far shines upon him. And when I describe these shining of the far, it is literal. The far emanates, is like a soft gleam around the person. So everyone who contemplates him, or any other person that has been bestowed the far, they know, you can easily identify them. So all night he writhed in anguish, and when night's black cloak was torn aside, he made his way to Afrasiab again. The court was cleared of strangers, and the two sat together. And Garzivas began. Your Majesty, Seavash is not the man he was. He receives messengers from King Kaikavuz, and also from Rum, and from China. He drinks Kaikavuz's health, and mighty army has gathered around him. Soon he will be a threat to you, to all of us. If evil had not darkened Tur's heart, do you remember Tur? Tur, the second kid of Fereydun, Tur, the absolute psychopath that assassinated Iraj, and the reason why Turan and Iran are in a constant fight, that Tur. Okay, so if evil had not darkened Tur's heart, he would not have slain Iraj. But since that time, our two kingdoms have been like fire and water, each heartsick at the other, and you are crazy enough to want them unite. You might as well attempt to trap the wind. If I had hidden this evil from you, the world would have condemned me. The king's heart was hurt by this report, and he began to brood on fate and sorrows. The man even gets letters from China, says, so look at what a white fan base. He has a very white, Seavash has a very white fan base. Like, you have no idea to what extent he's loved and revered and respected. Yes, I mean, Although Garzivos is exaggerating on purpose here. He is posing a threat. He's trying to expose Seavash, and he is not shy on making things up when describing the king how big of a menace the Iranian prince is. And The letters from Roman China only mean that he could muster allies from all the borders and from all the kingdoms that are not under Turan's control, meaning that he has friends everywhere. The king said, affection sprung from our common blood guides you to speak like this to Garcivos. Affection, yeah, for sure. Let me weigh the matter for 3 days. If wisdom agrees with your assessment, I will say what remedy to adopt. So 3 days passed. On the 4th day, Garcivos appeared at court, his sword belt tight about his waist, his diadem of office on his head. Afrasiab summoned him and went over the matter of Seavash. He said, how you remind me of our father, Pashang. Do you remember Pashang? The OG psycho. Oh my god, that man. That man was like a poison that spoiled absolutely everything he touched and corrupted everything around him. If Afrasiab is a bad weed, Pashang has nothing to envy him for. Pashang is even worse. So Afrasiab says, how you remind me of our father Pashang. And who else have I in the world besides you? Oh, then I was mistaken. Then Garcivos is the blood brother of Afrasiab. There's so many characters that you see, even I get confused because I have also my favorites and I learn about them. And Garcivos is not one of my favorites whatsoever, so I don't know his lineage with Turan. I thought he was not really related, only, politically by marriage. But no, apparently they are blood brothers. Therefore, Agriras is also a brother of Garcivos, I think. And who else I have in the world besides you? It is you I must tell my secrets to, and you must plumb them thoroughly and give me your advice. That dream I had. Oh, this is a very good reminder. Everything started, the insistence of Garcivos to Seavash to stay in Turan, everything started because Afrasiab had a dream. So Harab, if you want to, if you cannot put links on the chat, but if you want to, you can send them to one of my moderators. I don't know if No Soy Ros is here, but if you wish to do that, send that to No Soy Ros and he could post it on the chat. And if not, you can always put it on the Discord channel. I think I'm gonna just create a section for the Book of Kings because it's about damn time. So, that dream I had, which upset me for a while and confused me, prevented me from fighting against Seavash. But no harms come from me. No harms come to me from him. That is right. Seavash did nothing to harm the king. Since he has bid farewell to the throne of Iran and wisely woven his fate with mine, he has never once disobeyed my orders. And I have treated him well. I gave him a country to rule over. Not to roll over. Can you imagine? I gave him a country to roll over. No, to rule over. And wealth. And I've made no mention to our grievances against him. I have made a blood alliance with him. I gave him my daughter, the light of my eyes, and I've renounced all thoughts of vengeance against Iran. If after this, all this, I were to suspect him, the world would rebuke me. I haven't the least excuse to move against him. If I were to harm him, our nobles would condemn me. I'd be a byword for bad faith everywhere. And if I harmed an innocent man, could God, who rules upon the sun and moon, approve of this? I can see no other solution than to summon him to my court, and then send him back to his father, to Kaikavuz. If it is sovereignty he wants, he can take his quarrel elsewhere. So, you see, Garcivos, oh, I know that animation, it's beautiful, but very sad. You see, Garcivos has no, very, very wisely, surprisingly, he knows that he has no reason to march military speaking against Sayavash. He's done nothing, poor soul. So he wants to return him to Iran, meaning that if his brother believes the threat is just imminent, okay, so we will summon Sayavash and dispatch him to his father, because if he wants the throne, he owns one by right. He has a throne back in Iran. We don't want him to take Turan, so we're gonna give him, the one that it belongs to him by birthright. So go, Boro Birun. So, Garzivas, however, has something else in mind. And he says, my lord, you can't treat this matter so lightly. If he goes back to Iran now, our whole country will be destroyed. Whenever you welcome a stranger into your family, he becomes privy to all its secrets. If you try and distance yourself from him now, who knows what insanity may come from this? He will be your enemy, and you will be rubbing salt into an open wound. As has been well said, the man who brings a leopard up sees only trouble as his reward. And Garzivas is not wrong. Sayavash knows a lot about Turan's political situation, economical features, and so he has all the state secrets at hand. But we have a saying. We have a saying in Spanish, and we sum it up as cree el ladrón. The thief believes all the people in the world are also thieves. So I'm going to look for that. I think it must have a translation in English because I'm curious. Yeah, it takes one to know one, more or less. Like, it takes one to know one, but not really like Garzivas, because he is an evil, poison, rotten soul. He believes everyone else is exactly like him, which is not true, of course, because Sayavash would never betray someone that helped him in any way throughout his life. But Garzivas doesn't know that, because of course he doesn't know Sayavash. But we do, Bacha, we do. However, he highlights how dangerous it would be to just bring Sayavash back to the court of Kaikavuz. These words seemed true to Afrasiab, who regretted what he had done and foresaw only disaster. He replied, I see no good in this affair, neither in its beginning nor in its end. We must look for what the heavens reveal. In every situation, delay is better than haste. Wait until the sun has shone on this for a while, until we get some sense of God's will and who it is that heaven's light looks favorably upon. If I summon him to court, I will be able to sound his secrets. And if I bring disloyalty to light, then I shall have to harden my heart against him. No one can blame me then, since evil deserves punishment and there is an end to the matter. But Garzivas still wants the king to take action. And he said, you are wise and honest. It still cracks me up that we are speaking about Afrasiab here. Let's not forget what he did. He's a psychopath. He is. You are wise and honest, my lord, but consider, if Sayavash, with all his power and royal far, with his God-given might, with that mace and sword of his, should come here to your court, then the sun and moon will be darkened for you. Sayavash is not the man you saw. His crown outsoars the heavens, and you would not recognize Farigiz, who seems beyond all earthly needs. Your army would go over to him, and you would be left like a shepherd with no flock. If the army sees a prince as handsome as generous and wise as he is, as Saavash is, it is not going to be content with you as his sovereign. And you can't simply keep him in his own city, graceful to you for what you've done for him and still willing to serve you. No one has ever seen a lion and an elephant mate or fire above while water flows below. If someone wraps a lion cub in silk, a little whelp who's not yet tasted milk, it keeps its nature still, and once the cub has grown, fights off an elephant's attack alone. What does this mean? That the nature of a lion, it would always be the nature of a lion. A killer will always be a killer, and Saavash is a prince that has the right to rule. Therefore, it doesn't matter how many efforts Afrasiab makes to appease Saavash's real nature, because fate is fate, and fate dictated when Saavash was born that he was to rule upon somewhere, because he has the royal far and he is from the lineage of Faraydun, and so and so. Oh, hola Kimu. Sorry, I'm going to switch languages for a moment. Hola Kimu, ¿cómo estás? Muchas gracias por pasarte. Ahora estamos leyendo en inglés el libro de los reyes. Te puedes quedar, por supuesto, estás invitadísimo. Sorry about that. So, basically that is what Garzibas is pushing the king to believe, that for sure he can just wait and talk to him and blah blah blah, but at some point, the true nature of things are to be revealed, because such is God's design. Then Afrasiab became despondent and beset by care. Old memories of ancient wrongs and thoughts of vengeance filled his heart. And now I'm going to pause, because here I feel the need to tell you the two interpretations of what just happened here. On the one hand, we can interpret that Garzibas being these what's the name of this? Allow me just a moment. So on the one hand, we can interpret that Afrasiab had truly given up his thoughts of vengeance against Iran and against Saavash, and then Garzibas, in a fashion-like character like Grima Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings, he infected and poisoned the mind of the king, and therefore kind of like clouded his judgment. That is one interpretation, that Afrasiab, true to his promise, had given up vengeance, and then Garzibas poisoned his mind. The other interpretation, and the one I feel most comfortable with and that I like, is that the king Afrasiab was always like this. This is his true nature, that he's very, very, very strongly attempted to repress, but could not in the end. Alas, because, as Garzibas himself just signaled, nature, the true nature of people, shows up in the end. And to me particularly, what happened here is that the poisonous words of Garzibas awoken the true nature that was repressed in the king of Turan, and the psychopath came back. And all the thoughts of vengeance, of bloodshedding, of war returned ever stronger than they were before. From then on, Garzibas visited him continually, and one day Afrasiab cleared the court and said to Garzibas, "Go and visit Saavash. Don't stay long, but give him this message from me. Don't you have any desire to quit your round of pleasures and see someone else, Saavash? Come here with Farigis for a while. I need to set eyes on your face again and enjoy your wise company. There is good hunting in our mountains, and wine and milk in our emerald goblets. We can spend time pleasantly together, and then, when you wish to return to your own city, you will be set off with music and festivities. why is it forbidden for you to drink with me? Oh, mama. So basically, Garzibaz and Afrasiab are going to attempt and lure Seavash to the court of the Turanian king. And Garzibaz, his heart filled with malevolence, his head with deceit, hurried off on his mission. There he goes, there he sets off. When he was close to Seavash's guard, he selected a smooth-talking soldier and said to him, "Go to Seavash and said to him from me personally, my noble and ambitious," I like my word, "my noble and ambitious lord, I beg you, by the soul of Turan's king, and by the soul and crown of Kaikavuz, not trouble yourself to come out of your city to greet me. Your fame, your far, lineage, crown and throne raise you above such concerns, and the winds themselves stand ready to serve you." Oh my god. Okay, so what is happening here? Do you remember at the beginning of the stream I highlighted the importance of receiving your guests? It doesn't matter the rank. So here, Garzibaz is basically taking every opportunity life offers to him. And he is attempting to trick Seavash into not greeting him, which would be of the highest disrespect. But he is saying that praising him as a greater warrior, as someone that has been elevated above everyone else, to see if Seavash is proud enough to think of himself, well, yeah, I am better than anyone else, therefore I shouldn't have to do these things. So that is the message. And this is a poisoned apple. This is awful what Garzibaz just did. And the envoy arrived and kissed the ground before Seavash, who was saddened by Garzibaz's message. He withdrew and pondered for a while over what it might mean, because Seavash understands how weird is this. No, exactly. It's here. It's a trap. No soy Ros. It is clearly a trap. It's a political trap, because suddenly we are reading A Song of Ice and Fire. Everything's become a political trap, indeed. And then Seavash said to himself, "There is some secret hidden here. But he does something else. When Garzibaz reached the court, Seavash went out on foot to meet him. Why is this important? Because he's humbling himself before Garzibaz, who's coming on horse. So he's putting physically, apologies, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, Afiat Bosham. I don't know if you said that in Persian, but since it's Afiat Boshe, you can conjugate that, so Afiat Boshe, Afiat Bosham. Seavash is physically putting himself in a lower level than Garzibaz as a sign of respect, because he doesn't understand why Garzibaz would ask him not to come. It's weird, it's odd, clearly. There's something more to it. There's an ulterior motive. So he went out on foot to meet him, questioning him about his journey, the king, and affairs of state. And Garzibaz handed over Afrasiab's letter, which delighted Seavash, because again, Seavash cannot see, oh my god, Azizam, he's too pure. He's too good for this world. He cannot see the poison embedded in those words. What he reads is that his adopted father, quote unquote, wants to see him, that he misses him, and of course misses his daughter, and wants to spend time with him. So he's delighted. His spirits are relaxed and higher than ever. He's too good. Ay, pan de Dios. Ay, así están. So Garzibaz handed over the letter, which delighted Seavash, and he exclaimed, "It outfaced swords. I would outfate swords and adamantine walls for his sake. I am ready to travel to his court. You and I shall link our reins and ride together. But first, we must feast and drink in these golden gardens, for the fleeting world is a place of sorrow and grief, and woe to him who does not seize pleasures where he can. Garzibaz is not impressed, because what Shāh-nāmeh is suggesting is that they go together as a happy couple of friends. But he doesn't want that. And Garzibaz said in his heart, if I return to the king with him, his chivalry and wisdom will trample my plans underfoot. My words would count for nothing, and my counsel will be seen as a lie, which, by the way, it is, but you know, it's to their own, Azizam. I, thinks Garzibaz, must make some scheme to lead him astray. For a while he stood in silence, staring at Shāh-nāmeh's face. Then, suddenly, tears flow from his eyes, and seeing this, Shāh-nāmeh, who is the purest, best creature in the world, and with the biggest heart in the entire universe of the Book of Kings, asked in sympathy, my brother, what is it? Is it the sorrow you can't talk about? If your tears are because you're upset with Turan's king, I will ride with you now and fight against him until I know why he is humiliating you. Caesar. Sorry. And if some formidable enemy has appeared in your life, I am ready to help you in any way I can. Or if Afrasiab is at odds with you because someone has been slandering you and so replace you in his favor, tell me about it so I can help look for a remedy. How pure is this person? How good and warm-hearted he is. He wants desperately to help someone that's crying. Oh, Shāh-nāmeh, you're the best. Garzibaz, however, replied, no, there is nothing like this between me and the king, and I have no enemies my wealth and martial skill can't deal with. Bragging much. Thoughts of our lineage welled up in my heart, and I remembered true tales from the past. How evil first came from Tur, who lost God's far. You've heard of how he schemed against the humble Iraj, and so began the endless vendetta of our peoples, and how from then until the time of Afrasiab, Iran has been like fire and Turan like water, never mingling in one place, always rejecting wisdom and good counsel. And Turan's king, Afrasiab, yes, team boy number 3, always and forever, no soy Ros. And Turan's king is worse than Tur himself. His ox had not been skinned yet. Who knows what he would do? You don't know how evil his nature is, but if you watch and wait, you will see. Think first of how, with his own hand, he stabbed Agriras. The two were brothers, you see. This is painful for me to read. Of the same mother and father, and yet he killed Agriras, who had committed no crime. And then there has been many other innocent nobles whom he has destroyed. My concern is that you remain vigilant and safe since you came here. Since you came here, no one's harmed by you. No one has been. And you've always striven for justice and decency. And the world has been made more splendid by your knowledge. But alas, Ahriman, who is in other ways referring to Iblis, the demon, El Demonio, Ahriman has filled the king's heart with resentment against you. I don't know what God wills in all of this, but you know that I am your friend. Whatever good or evil should appear, I don't want you to think later on that I knew of this and didn't warn you. Oh, Garzibaz, you big, fat liar. Shāh-nāmeh is heartbroken by this. Heartbroken. He's surprised and destroyed inside, and he replied, Don't trouble yourself about this. God is with me, and the king has given no sign that he wishes to destroy me. If he were angry at me, he wouldn't have distinguished me by giving me a kingdom to rule over, together with his own daughter, wealth, and troops. I will return with you to his court and make his darkened moon splendid again. Wherever truth shines out, lies lose their luster. I shall show Afrasiab my heart, brighter than the sun in the heavens. Yes, it is. It is brighter than the sun in the heavens. Be cheerful and give up these dark suspicions. But Garzibos, knowing that what Shāh-nāmeh was going to say, said, My kind lord, don't imagine he is as you once saw him. For all your knowledge and stature, you can't distinguish pretense from goodness, and I fear bad luck will come of this. You know what? He has a point. Shāh-nāmeh cannot see pretense from goodness. The king of Turan has tricked you, blinded you with glory. You were foolish to rejoice when he made you his son-in-law. He lured you away from your own people and gave great feast and made you his familiar, so that the world began to gossip about it. Yeah, he has learned well from Rustam, definitely, Naziros. You are not a wiser man than Agriras, and you are not closer to him than he was. Before their horrified troops, Afrasiab cleaved his brother's waist in two with a dagger. Take this as a lesson, son, and put no trust in the fact that you are related to him. There, I have told you what's in my heart. You abandoned your father in Iran and made a place for yourself here in Turan. You trusted our king's talk and became his friend in sorrow. But this tree you planted has bitter roots, and its fruit, it's poison. His heart was filled with treachery, but he sighed as he spoke, and his eyelashes were wet with fake tears. Shāh-nāmeh, heartbroken, stared at him in bewilderment, and tears streamed from his eyes. Oh, I see them. Don't cry. I don't want you to cry. Come, I will hug you. He remembered the prophecies of his evil destiny, that the heavens would deprive him of love, that he would not live long but die while still a young man. His heart was wrung and his face turned pale, his soul was saddened and sighs escaped his lips. He cried, However I looked at this, I cannot see that I deserve punishment. No one has heard that I have done or said anything wrong. If I had made free with his wealth, I have also striven on his behalf, and whatever evil comes to me, I shall not swerve aside from his commands. I will accompany you, he insisted, without my troops, and we will see what has turned the king against me. Garzibas yet again uses his poisonous tongue to reply, Ambitious lord, it would be better for you not to come. A man should not step heedlessly into fire or trust himself to ocean waves. You would be rushing into danger and lulling your good luck to sleep. I will act upon you. I can't. Was that Serapis? We suffered in Spanish and now in English. Poor Shāh-nāmeh, I know. I don't want anyone to cry, but yeah, unfortunately, this is sad. This is very sad. How poor Shāh-nāmeh is being betrayed. Because let us pause for a moment and address something. When Afrasiab and Garthibas were discussing what to do about Sauvage. There were two solutions potentially. One is to invoke, to summon the king, the little prince to the court, and then return him to Kaikavuz, and that's it. And then the other one was for Garthibas to visit him and to speak to him or whatever. What about you leave the poor creature be? If he is a menace, just let him be in his own city, and you can keep close vigilance if that makes you sleep better at night. But why is no one considering this option? Leave the kid alone. Leave him be in peace. Just don't bother anymore. He's not done anything to hurt you, not yet. So why should he start now? Just leave the kid alone. What? Why is no one asking this? Why is no one asking, hey, why don't we just leave that boy on his own fortress, with his wife and servants and stuff? Because yes, he rules upon a kingdom, very, very tiny, not important, blah, blah, blah. So yes, setup is exactly because Ferdowsi enjoys drama and he likes opening up our chest, ripping the heart out of our rib cages, stomping it into the ground, stepping onto it, spitting into it, and then put it back. And so our chest ready for more suffering. Oh, God. So Garthibas suggests, I will act for you in this matter and throw cold water on the fire. Write an answer setting out the good and evil of the situation. If I see that the king has no thoughts of vengeance and that the days of your glory are renewed, I will send a messenger here, on horseback, lightening the darkness of your days. I trust in God, who knows what is open and what remains hidden, that the king will return to righteous ways, leaving aside crookedness and evil. And if I see that his mind still dark, I will send a messenger immediately, and you should wait no longer, but leave at once. It's not far from here to the borders, 120 parasangs to China, and 340 parasangs to Iran. In the former, everyone looks favorably on you. In the latter, your father longs to see you, and the whole country is yours to command. Don't delay, but write to both countries and be prepared to fly to either. Oh God, what is that, Uloko? Siavash's problem seems to be that he is so perfect that everybody sees his perfection as a threat. You describe it perfectly. That is exactly Siavash's problem, that he is too good for the world and ill-hearted people believe this goodness and purity to be a threat, to be a menace to the status quo, whatever. Because the thing is, Siavash is not just... Okay, I've mentioned this before about all the characters of the Shāh-nāmeh. The characters in this book are not just characters, they are archetypes. They're archetypes that contain values and a mindset from the time they were written. And in this case, particularly, Siavash is represented the physical embodiment of goodness, of righteousness, because he indeed is too pure and too good. And sometimes a wee bit non-believable because, well, he's too good. But that's the thing, Ferdowsi was not attempting to create relatable characters. He was trying to present archetypes, ideas embodied in characters, in situations, in full narrative arcs. Siavash is a hero, and therefore, yes, he is perfect. He's perfect. There's nothing wrong about it whatsoever. Thank you, Sohraba. Parasang is an ancient Iranian measurement goes well back into the Sasanians, and the measurement is either between 4.2 kilometers or 5.9, almost 6 kilometers. It really depends, but that is a parasang. And so what was he saying? Yes, I mean, this is the reason why Siavash is so good. He is intentionally being constructed as the representation of goodness, of nobility, of just goodness. Just goodness and righteousness and kindness. Super important, kindness. Unfortunately, I'm going to go back to these ideas that Shāh-nāmeh represents in a while. Uloko says, we have possibly identified the essence of goodness in this world. Quick, kill it before it spreads. That is so painfully true, Uloko. So painfully accurate and true. Yes, Serapis, the world doesn't deserve Shāh-nāmeh. Absolutely no. There's not a way in which the world deserves Shāh-nāmeh. So, no longer vigilant, no longer wise, Prince Shāh-nāmeh believed all of Gardivasa's specious lies. He said to him, I put my trust in you. Don't, Shāh-nāmeh, just don't, for crying out loud. I put my trust in you. I just trust in all you say and do. Go, plead my cause before the king, and seek for righteousness and justice when you speak. How do you think this is going to go? So, visit for Shāh-nāmeh and his happiness. Yes, for sure. For sure, Serapis. Cheers to that. So then Gardivos is entrusted to act on behalf of Prince Shāh-nāmeh before the king Afrasiab. And he sets off to the court of the Turanian king, and this Bachar is where we are going to stop for today's reading. It was a wee bit longer than I normally read, but I wanted to get all of this squeeze into it. I wanted to fit all these parts in this reading because I think it's important, because we are very, very quickly going into the end of the narrative arc of Shāh-nāmeh, which, by the way, we are going to finish on, what day is today? Thursday. On Monday, next Monday at 6 p.m, we will be doing another live reading of the Shāh-nāmeh. Thank you, Kimu. If you want, well, actually, how do you pronounce your name? Because given how it's written, I would read it in Persian, and in Persian it will be Khimu, because K and H make the H sound. So I read Khimu every time I see you. But I've seen other people call you Kimu, so I want to do it, properly. Chinggis Khan, efectivamente sí. So thank you so much, Nose Rosa. I'm really happy you like it. We're going to pause Ancient Winds now, and we're going to start playing one of the most beautiful songs ever, which is Fly Me to the Moon, which is the closing jam of this. So yes, Bachar, we will be talking about oh, why is this happening? Wait. Okay. Oh, Sprout. I love it. Oh, and it's written with an H? Oh, wow. I love it. That is so beautiful. That is very, very beautiful. Okay, I like it. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, that on Monday we will finish the narrative arc of Shāh-nāmeh. In case you want to join us for the reading, I will be delighted to have you over. And Bachar, thank you so much for accompanying me into this reading of the Book of Kings. Oh, I see what happened here. Yeah, I understand. Sometimes usernames being taken, it can be a real pain. But thank you so much for staying. Thank you to my patrons who make this possible. May I remind you, patrons, that you have available new topics for January to just go and vote to your heart's content. Thank you for enjoying the Shāh-nāmeh with me. You know how special the book is, and I am delighted to share it with you. If you want to catch up with the rest of the readings and want to learn a bit more about what is the Book of Kings and what's going on with it, you can find the playlist on the YouTube channel of this project, also on Spotify podcasts and Evox. And thank you to all the people who listened to it throughout 2023. Apparently, I have a Spotify recap or something. Apparently, but I know, no soy Rose. There's these mixed feelings. Yeah, the book of royal sorrows, definitely. But thank you so much for seeing here. I love these streams. I actually wanted to check if there is someone else on streaming right now. Nay, not yet. Kimu, Aquila no está en directo ahora. Sorry, I mean, if you're listening to these on Spotify, yes, this is odd, but the reason behind it is this is a Twitch stream, and this is the little perks you get for listening to an audio extracted from a Twitch live stream. So if you want to join us the next session, you have the links somewhere in the project, or you could just look for Las Plumas de Simur on Twitch. She will open just now. Okay, so why don't we wait for a moment and we raid the channel of Aquila? I was positive she was going to stream today. Do you know when?